Hey guys, this is Bear with Bear's Den Acrylic Art, and we are back with another painting video. As you can see in front of me, this is the 18 by 24 sunflower swipe that I did a couple nights ago that is just about dry. I saw Nate Bright do this, and he explained things so well in his video that I simply had to copy it for myself. To that end, however, I am left with a lot of yellow and some oranges. This right here is the Quinacridone Gold by Deco Art Media. So I am going to try and take what I have left over from this sunflower swipe and see if I can't make something of a sunset swipe out of it. So let me get this situated, and I will put you in front of the canvas and I'll explain how I am going to attempt to do this. So stay tuned. All right, guys, thanks for sticking around. So as you can see, I am going to be working on a 12 by 24 by 1.5 inch canvas. And I kind of have sketched out where I want, the sun to be. The horizon line is really kind of low because what I want to do is really kind of play with, the sunset kind of being the vanishing point. So that's where your eye is going to be drawn to, bringing all of the composition on this side right here. And the way that I am going to hopefully accomplish this is with a couple of palette knives, and that is just to move the paint across horizontally, and then if you can see these, some super thin strips of this was a couple old bookmarks that I cut up into ribbons, or a chiffonade, as my brother would say. But once I have the sky looking kind of how I want it to, then I'm going to focus in on the sun and in different layers. And again, these are very thin. Just start dragging, start the swipes in all different directions to give kind of like a sunburst effect. So like I said, I'm not entirely sure that this is going to work, but you're along for the ride, so might as well see. And maybe it's because the sunflower turned out so well that I'm just getting a little cocky. So time will tell. But I have my edges painted. This is just an Azo orange by Amsterdam and then a Liquitex Cerulean blue. That's just to give me coverage. But for the mostly orange and burnt orange sky, I have, I have Amsterdam Azo Orange, I have Artist Loft Vermilion, I have Golden's Quinacridone Nickel Azo Gold, I have Deco Art's Quinacridone Gold, I have Arteza's Pale Apricot, and then I have a mix of just an accent swipe color. This is a mix of TLP, Grenache, Harvest Gold, and Mango. So it's this kind of, intense, deep reddish copper. So I think that'll look good. And then I have some leftover Cadmium Yellow Deep and some Titanium White. So I am going to get started just kind of putting ribbons of color down in the sky, and then using the palette knife just to kind of, blend the colors and see if I can't get a composition that I am halfway happy with. So we'll see. All right, so with any With any sunset, okay, if you've ever seen a sunset painting, which you have to unless you live under a rock, or in the dark, as far as the composition goes, the lighter colors are always closer to the actual sun. And then the further away you get, the darker the edges become. And that is another technique for kind of like forced perspective. Okay, so all of my lighter colors are going to be in a narrower band that is kind of parallel with the sun. And then I'm just going to move out darker and see what that looks like. Also, don't let the azo orange, play with your eye. That's just for the sake of not having bare canvas. So let's see. let's see what we can see. So first things first. Okay, this is the Cadmium Yellow. All right. All right. And obviously with stuff like this, you don't have to worry about really being precise. I want to make sure that I have enough paint to cover the canvas, but not so much that it's going to affect, how nicely it dries. And I need to give myself a little bit of space. Okay. So now the only thing that I want to start doing is just to, let's just start bringing these colors and this is the Amsterdam Azo orange. All right. All right, next we are going to go in with the Quinacridone Gold by Deco Art Media. And this is a markedly darker orange, but it just gives such a rich color. I might even need to mix more of this. So then moving on, we are going to go in with the Nickel Azo Gold, which is a very similar color. It's just couple shades darker. And then just because I have it and I haven't used it in a million years, the Artist Loft Vermilion. And I'm actually going to put this kind of in between. And I can tell I've had this for a million years because something is in the nozzle. All right. So now we are just going to add a couple highlight colors just for some depth. This is the Deep Gold by Amsterdam. And I'm just putting this down where I have a whole lot of blocks of that yellow. And then just for good measure, all right, we're just going to put a little bit of the TLP Mango. Like I said, these are just for the sake of accents. Yeah, so all of this was inspired by the sunflower painting that Nate Bright did, last week, and he, I had never done one before, and thought, well, you know what? He just explained this really, really well. So let's give it a shot. And all in all, I have to say, I think it turned out pretty darn well. So I was quite pleased with that. All right. So I think that is a good starting point. I'm going to come back and I'll do the ocean a little bit later. I just want to see what I can do as far as getting this to look somewhat good. And of course, I want to pop air bubbles, but also not set the canvas on fire, which is something that I wouldn't put past me. All right, so so I don't want to dig the palette knife into the canvas and drag. I just want to kind of lift. Okay. Just want to kind of lift and swipe. And because this is fluid acrylic, if it doesn't look the way you want it to, just go back over it. But I have to be careful because sometimes I don't know when to say when. And, I've said before that self-editing has been an issue for me. So, I don't want it to look overworked, or, I don't want it to start getting overmixed or overly muddied. And I might as well take a second and take care of the sides here. And again, the sides I'm not overly concerned about. As they are already, covered per se. Yeah, so I really just wanted to try and continue, you know, doing things that I haven't done before, because, you know, a lot of times, you know, we see the same types of paintings, and it's easy to kind of you know, get into a rut, and that's where I found myself. Okay, so that's not too bad. I'll probably take another pass at it. I'll bring some of the orange underneath, even if it's just super, super subtle, just to break up these solid blocks. I'll tell you what, I've been also, you know, kind of chomping at the bit to get back to painting. While the sunflower was drying, I've been trying to get as much varnishing done as possible, because I have a couple commissions that I need to get started that I don't have the room, you know, with everything kind of laid out, so I need to consolidate space. Now, another thing I should be doing is, you know, I recently relocated back to Pennsylvania from the DC area, and, you know, I'm in the process of applying for teaching positions for the fall. And, you know, a lot of the applications have, you know, essays, and you know, I am a very good writer. I am just a very lazy writer, where I procrastinate. And I decided that I would rather... Oh, that beeping is my coffee maker turning itself off, which I will be turning it back on. You know, it's only 20 of 11. All right. Anyway, so yeah, moral of the story, should definitely be writing essays for my teaching applications, but what are you going to do? Decided to paint. So this is pretty well blended. I'm not, you know, super nitpicky about it, because remember, our swipes are going to go every which way. So, you know, how this looks right now is not going to be how it looks when the swiping is done. So let's keep moving up. Just using the knife to lift some of the paint. Whoops. Well, see, that's why you don't need to freak out if something like that happens, because you're still going to swipe. And it's pretty cool. I'm actually getting some cells. All right, so I think we're just going to keep moving. Yeah, so my certification to teach is, I'm certified to teach pre-K through 12 in general and choral music. And, as bad a teacher shortage as there is right now, that shortage isn't necessarily, that doesn't necessarily pertain to music. So the positions I am finding are a little fewer and further between. So, they're there, and I'm sure I'll find something. I'm a very good teacher, or at least, I like to think that I am. And something will come along. Although today I did expand my search into the lovely garden state of New Jersey, since I'm only about 10 minutes away from the Delaware River. All right. And some of these areas that are a little thinner, I just need to be a little bit more careful about not digging the palette knife into the canvas. But if for nothing else, at least it is covered. I can't really see what this edge looks like, but I'll just go back and clean that up when I'm done. All right. So again, it's not perfect, but it certainly does not need to be. So now that that is somewhat blended, just going to go back in and pop a lot of these bubbles, because when you're mixing with your palette knife, you do create a lot of air bubbles. All right. So I am going to do the ocean next. And this is going to be a little bit tricky because I really do not want to have the yellow and blue, overly mix and create green. So what I think I'm actually going to do is put down, actually no, that's iridescent white. I'm going to put down a little bit, just a bead of titanium white, just to act as a border. Okay. All right, doesn't need to be much, I don't think. So then for the ocean part, I have Arteza Pearl Electric Blue, I have Deco Art Extreme Sheen Sapphire, and I have leftover from the from the sunflower pour. This is Cerulean blue. So the Cerulean, because it is the lightest of the three and has the same finish as the titanium white, meaning matte, is going to go closest. Since I have way more of this than I do the other colors, we'll make this the majority. Okay. So now let's start layering the other blues. So this is my OCD kicking in, wanting to make sure that I get as best coverage as I can. All right. So, the Pearl Ocean. Which is a great color, by the way. All right, and then towards the bottom, and this is, I want to use the Extreme Sheen Deep Sapphire. I want to use it somewhat sparingly because this is what I'm hoping will give the illusion of, you know, shadow in the water. You know, you can do it with, you can make shadows with black. It's just, you know, doing contrasting colors, I think works out better in my opinion. So here we go. So just the same thing, just with as light a touch as possible. As light a touch as possible, just dragging the knife over. And because of the extreme sheen, this is starting to sell up a little bit, which always adds a decent texture. Now this one, I do want to be a little bit more persnickety about how I leave, you know, how I leave this part, because obviously my starburst, my sun's rays aren't going to extend down to the water. And I do want to start blending this white ever so slightly. So this I'm just kind of doing a little bit more haphazard, you know, dragging, you know, lifting and churning it, just to give, I guess, the illusion of waves that are being highlighted by the light source above it. And I'll tell you what, even if this doesn't work out, you know, with the swipes, I'm pretty happy with the way this looks, you know, just as is, considering I've never tried anything like this before. I'm just going to try and blend that a little bit more. And if you happen to get some yellow or gold when, you know, when you're mixing this near the sun, that's okay, because this is where the reflection is. All right, pretty good. Hopefully I haven't been boring you too much with me not saying a whole lot, but this is what I do, is I start concentrating. All right. So now the interesting part. This whole time I've been trying to figure out how I want to layer the sun. So what I think I'm going to do is we're going to do this in a couple different stages, all right? Starting with, you know, kind of concentric rings, working our way into the center. So let me show you what I mean. So this here is that mix of TLP, Grenache, mango, and harvest gold. All right, so obviously not a perfect circle, but it does not have to be. So we have all of these million little swipe tools, okay? So you guessed it, we are going to be doing 1,000,000 swipes. All right, so trying to remember that the center of this sun is the vanishing point. So all of the lines that we are going to swipe terminate here. All right, so you kind of have to see that in your mind's eye. And because this is so similar to this, I am going to put in just a little bit of the deep gold, and I'm actually going to put in just a couple drops This is actually Cadmium Yellow medium. All right, so let's see what this looks like. So just starting okay. One down, about 78 billion to go. So if I can figure out how, I might speed you up on the camera while I do this. But I am trying to put as little pressure as possible on this paper. And it actually gets easier because, you know, as the moisture from the paint is absorbed into the paper, it starts to curl, and that actually helps. Sunshine when she's gone, only darkness every day. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, she's always gone too long. Anytime she goes away, wonder this time where she's gone. Wonder if she's gone to stay. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, and this house just ain't no home anytime she goes away. And I know, 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 I know. Hey, ought to leave young thing alone, but ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Only darkness every day. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, and this house just ain't no home anytime she goes away. Yes, anytime she... All right, guys, I apologize for the edit. This is just taking a very long time, and I wanted to spare you the drudgery of watching me do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. So, all I have done, let's see, the last, I put down a ring of the deep gold. I put down a ring of the Iridescent White, I have put down a ring of the Arteza Light Apricot, and then a ring of the Liquitex Naples Yellow. And then to finish this off, I just did another ring of the Cadmium Yellow, and then the Iridescent White, and then to finish it off, the Cadmium Yellow again. So, all in all, this is coming together pretty well. There are a couple things I would try differently next time, but in the grand scheme of things, considering this is the first time I've tried this, it's actually turning out pretty cool. So, as I was pouring my yellow out of the cup, I hit the edge right here, so that is where I am going to start, just to kind of erase that. So just like we've been doing, just start in the middle and just very light pressure. Bring it out. All right. So that is that. And I'm just using the straw to kind of just extend the margins of this circle of Cad Yellow, just to make it a little bit more uniform. All right, so a couple more things, and then I am going to call it a night, because it is 12:30 a.m. Now, it's not like I have school tomorrow. All right, so now I am going to just take my palette knife and just drag some very, very fine lines of the iridescent white towards the center. Everything else has been radiating out. This is going to be radiating in, and it's very slight. And the reason I'm doing this is I'm just trying to define where that vanishing point is. And dragging one color in from the center is a lot more manageable than trying to get every single color to look like it's radiating out. So then the last thing I'm going to do, I'm also going to use the palette knife and I am going to try and just put some very, very, very simple highlights into the water. I actually decided to go back in and drag some of the orange into the center as well, which you'll see. All right, so last thing to do, and I need to just adding some more paint where the canvas is peeking through. Okay. So then really easily, I'm just going to pour some of this yellow out onto my pad. Oh, and FYI, these are adult incontinence pads for, to go under your sheet. These are way cheaper than puppy pads, just saying. So, all right. So I am going to use my smallest knife, and I'm just going to put just a little bit, just the tiniest bit. Now I don't want to go crazy here because I don't want to make green. And all I want to do then is just to very lightly press down and pull back up. So you see how little paint actually got deposited, but it is enough where we do it again. All right, and you kind of have to be decisive when you do that. Okay, you're not sawing, you're not trying to, rub the paint off. Just get enough to coat the edge of the knife. Keeping the blade parallel. And I have there's some excess on here. Let's see if it'll work twice. Yeah, it's better to wipe it off after each go. Yes, it's time consuming, but it's definitely the right way to do it. So yeah, so this is just as simplistic, as rudimentary a highlight as you're basically gonna get. Now what I might do is, just for some variety, you know, I'll start putting in some, you know, some of the orange highlights as well. And now I am debating if I want to stay up and edit this video so I can have something to post tonight, or if I should just wait so I can show you the dry results as well, which is probably what I'll do, because so many of you the last time asked to start including my dry results. So, yep, just basic highlights. So let's see if I put down some of the Azo orange. It's the same thing, just enough to coat the edge. It's actually a little much. And you are just adding to the highlights. Now with this, the cool thing is you can do as many or as few as your heart desires. And as tired as my arms are, I'm gonna also start physical therapy for my shoulder next week. It would bother me more if I did not do some type of highlight. So, yeah, so just keeping it simple. So I'm just going to motor through this. All right. So I guess I will do some iridescent white. And then we're just gonna, we'll call it a night. Actually, what I just did there, load up the edge. Place it down. Oh, see, that's much better. See? All right, well, I am going to clean up. Well, I'm going to figure out something to do with these edges because they are all kinds of jacked up, but I will figure that out and I will bring you down for the close-up. So sit tight. Okay, so if you will pardon the ring light, you can see what the center of that sun looks like and how there's some really great transparency in how the spokes of that starburst radiate out. And what's cool is if you look closely, you can see that there's some cell activity in the ocean, just kind of giving the given the appearance of, bubbles or something in the surf. Now, the only thing I might do is after this dries, I might go back and, in between a lot of these spokes, just drop in some titanium white, just to, make it a little less muddy. But I have some time to ponder that. So, all in all, aside from a long-ass video, which I didn't think this would be since it's only a 12 by 24, I'm really happy with how this turned out. All right, guys, so once again, my name is Bear, and this is Bear's Den Acrylic Art. Thank you for sticking around for another painting video. If you are new to my channel and have not done so, please consider subscribing and hitting that like or that share and leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you. I am also on Facebook and Instagram at Bear's Den Acrylic Art, and all of my work is for sale. So if you see something you like on my pages, you can feel free to email me at bear@bearsdenacrylicart.com. So yeah, until next time, I wish you happy painting, and I'll see you then. Enjoy the rest of your week, guys. Thanks. Bye. All right, guys. Well, as you can see, these are the dried results. I went back in, and with that iridescent white, I just threw in some highlights. But overall, I really like how this turned out. I'm kind of sad it's not sunny today, so you can't see, the pearl and the metallic in the water. It's really nice. I love how the sky turned out. The radiating spokes out. Could not be happier. So, all in all, I would say that for my first attempt doing this kind of thing, this was a success.